actually 3 degrees. I was a double major in undergrad from Buffalo State College. It's a BA in theater and also psychology. And my master's degree is a Master of Fine Arts from Ohio University in Athens, Ohio.
Hello, my name is Professor Rick Roberts, Associate Professor of Theater here at Saginaw Valley State University. I received my BA in Theater from Saginaw Valley State University in 2000, and I received my MFA in Child Drama, Theater for the Young from Eastern Michigan University in 2004.
There's different forms of theater. Sometimes they are generally a wash of tragedy and comedy. Sometimes there are things with improvisation. Sometimes there's musicals. Sometimes there's tragicomedy. After the grand wash of the 2 major styles, there are many different forms that theater has to offer. Improvisation is the form of making something up on the spot. Generally there's a slight format to it, and depending on what the format is, that's sort of the rules that someone is going to follow. There's different types of games. For example, there's short form improv, which is very similar to the television show Whose Line Is It Anyway?
In this game, the performers are preparing for an annual event, some kind of holiday, and they can only talk in euphemisms and cliches. Wondering if the audience is something that happens once a year. Back to school!
Sorry I'm late. I had to let the kids out for recess, if you know what I mean.
Well, your term's almost up, if you know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you mean.
A different style of genre would be comedy. Probably the most accessible form comedy genre are situational comedies, domestic comedies, family comedies, and we see these every night whenever we turn on television. If you were to look at a musical, probably the easiest way to describe a musical is this is the broadest form of theater that most Americans are introduced to the idea of theater with. If mom and dad were to take you to see a musical, that's how most people are introduced to theater, because what happens in a musical is people just randomly burst out into song. The main idea behind musicals generally is to entertain and for people to have a good time. The American musical is the only form of theater that is truly American. Other formats and styles of genres are basically stolen and modified. We try and make it our own, but the American musical was created here in the U.S., and now other countries are kind of modifying what we do. Like I said, they're primarily to entertain, and they were set up during the war to help people escape because of all of the people that were overseas fighting.
In musical theater, today contemporary musical theater is not specifically all about who has the best voice. We actually spend a lot of time working musical theater where they do monologue work with their lyrics. The biggest thing that younger student actors face when they think of musical theater is they think, oh my God, I have to sing like American Idol. Which I have students come and say, Professor Roberts, I would like to take your musical theater class, but I don't sing. My immediate response to them is, then I want you in musical theater. We spend a lot of times talking about, oh, that's a throwaway. And when I say that, what I'm saying about throwaway in musical theater is, it doesn't always have to be, he's like the sun I might have known, if God had granted me a son. He's like the sun I might have known, if God had granted me a son. I mean, there are moments where you can take that to a different place, and I think maybe you're going to connect the audience a little bit better.
So there's different styles of acting that acting students would probably learn about. The largest one would fall under the category of Konstantin Stanislavski. Stanislavski he was the artistic director of the Moscow Arts Theater. Basically, he comes up with this idea of a magical what if. Now, Stanislavski's what if basically has the idea of given circumstances. And a given circumstance is anything that you know about the character, the world that they live in. So, for example, Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. His father's been murdered, supposedly by his uncle, and his uncle is now courting his mom. We also know that Hamlet is speaking to the ghost of his father, who says to avenge him for this wrongful death.
How could I drink hot blood?
Now, these are some of the given circumstances. The magical what if that Stanislavski uses is, what if it were you? What if you were speaking to the ghost of your dead father, and your ghost is telling you, your uncle killed me, I need you to avenge me, and your uncle is now courting and somewhat dating your mom? How does that make you feel? Out of Stanislavski comes a different offshoot. A couple of his students come to the United States and start to teach classes in New York City. This is back in the early 1930s. Out of this, there are a group of students that create something known as the group theater. Out of the group theater, there's a bunch of big names. Some of them are Udo Hagen, some of them are Harold Klerman, Sanford Meisner. And out of these people, they hear certain things that these two Russian teachers are telling them. And what happens is the American masters, some of these that I just mentioned, create up something known as the method. And method acting is sort of, depending on the teacher, sense memory. It might have something to do with a repetition exercise. One of the things that I did in my graduate school is we studied the styles of Stanislavski and also of Sanford Meisner. Acting by today's modern sense is talking about searching for the truth. Now, no matter who these people study with, Udo Hagen, if they go to the Actors Studio, which was founded by Elia Kazan, we're all basically looking for the same idea, truthful performances, but there's different styles on how to get there. I think that the idea of acting in a realistic fashion is the most impactful for today's audience. Also, as a teacher, it's great for students because we can spin them off a little bit easier to the genres of film and television as well. One way to find a preferred style for the actors of today is basically going out and getting cast or attempting to get cast. I would highly recommend reading a lot of plays. Or if you're not reading a lot of plays, reading the works of these different master teachers, some of them that we've mentioned earlier. Going out and seeing plays, finding out what your personal interest is, because theater is a very broad spectrum. If you want to go out and perform as a musical person and enjoy the musicals and singing and dancing, that's a very specific talent, and you have to be very gifted to be able to do that. If you want to make people laugh, you have to be able to fine-tune your art of timing to be able to make someone laugh at something. If you want to make people feel a certain way, realistic acting might be a certain genre that you might want to go into. Or there's even the theater of the absurd or performance art. If for some reason you decide to stand there and paint your body and recite poetry, make a sculpture while you do that, that's another form of theater that can happen. But it all depends on your personal, political, or ideological preferences.